Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion of the DOM with JavaScript. Let's get started. So right now we're going to go through just a nice quick example using product displays and some dynamic pricing. So let's kind of create up a nice example and scenario. So you're going to be working on an e-commerce application and your boss wants you to update the price displayed when a user selects a different size of a product. So first off, we need to get our initialization set up. We're going to create up our product pricing as our title. In our body, we're going to have a header 2 tag here, and it's going to be a t-shirt. And here we want our ID to be the product name. Our paragraph here, let's say that it would be like $20. And the ID here would be product price. And then we're going to add in a selector. So the selector name is size. Oh, we don't actually need a name. We'll just use an ID. So size selector. And inside here, the selector, we're going to have an option. The value is going to be 20, and this is small 20. And we're going to do this let's give it small, medium, large. So it'll be 25 and 30. So we'll do medium is 5, 30 for the large. And our script is going to be just script.js. Okay, so this is the basics of our HTML file. So this selector, let's be able to go over here and refresh. You see here we have t-shirt, small, and if we look at this drop-down box here, we have small, medium, large, and it has their pricing on. Okay, so now let's go on and create up some JavaScript for this. So const price element is our document. Get element by ID. And this is product price. And then we want const size selector is equal to document dot get element by ID, and we want size selector. We'll do size selector dot add listener, and we're going to do this on change. And we need an event here. Event. And we want to do const selected price is equal to event dot target dot value. Price element dot text content equal to we want a $sign in here, and then we actually want actual selected price. So what's going on here? Well, in our HTML file, we actually are adding in a selection for our products and sizes, and our JavaScript file is going to update the price based on the selected sizes. So should be able to right click here, change, and if you notice, now we have this nice price changing going on. Okay. So that's our first example we're going to run through today. Let's go on and set up another example here for a customer feedback form. And I'm just going to delete everything that we just did, just so that we have some nice clean scape here. And so this next one here, we're going to do a customer feedback form. You want to collect customer feedback on your site and display a thank you message when the form is submitted. So here's the first one here is let's call this customer feedback. And we're going to create up a form here, and we don't need action. For this one, we want an ID is equal to feedback form. And we want a label here for feedback. Type in your feedback here. And then we want them to be able to write in some text. So we'll say a text area. Name is feedback. And our ID here will also be feedback. And this will give them a text area to write in. And then we can also put in a button. And it will be, let's say, submit. And we want this type here to be submit. Okay. And again, we need here our script src to be script.js. Now we actually need to write up the feedback form. So the HTML file so far, let's do a quick review on this, is going to contain simple feedback with a form and a text area and a button. So for customer input. So let's refresh this. And this doesn't look great. So let's maybe make this look a little bit better. So we may be able to put in a break here. Break here. Let's see if that will make it look a little bit nicer. And we'll put in there we go. So we just put in some breaks in there to kind of make it all lined up. And so people can type in here whatever they want. And then again, we want them to be able to submit their data and it do something. Okay. So let's go on and do that. So the first thing we want to actually get the form. So const form is equal to document.get element by ID. We had a feedback form. Const form response is equal to document.get element by ID and form response. I don't believe we said form. We have our feedback, good, and our form response is just what's going to be posted from the response. And then let's do form dot add event listener on submit. Again, here we have our event listener itself. So here is an event. We want event dot prevent default. Now, here's the thing. So what usually happens is so let me actually go and I can type something here and I can submit. Did you see what happened there? this information just disappeared. Okay, now since it's reloaded and we have that prevent, if I comment this out, reload that. Every time I type this information disappears. It's because usually its default is to reload, okay, the page anytime you submit. So when you want to submit and you want to keep that information there, you need to prevent default, and this will stop the reloading of the form on the submission. So, actually, let me just put the note there. Stops reload on. So now let's do const feedback to document.get element by ID, and here we want our feedback dot value. And here's the deal. If we want them to have a decent length of a response, okay, so let's do something like, let's create up an if else statement here. I'll say if feedback dot length is greater than, let's say, 10. You want them to actually type out quite a bit of information. Well, here, let's do this. We'll play with that in a minute. Let's do 0. And then we can say const feedback, const. No, we don't want const here. We want our form response. Form response dot text content is equal to thank you for your feedback. So basically, as long as they write something, we're going to tell them thank you. And then we want to form.reset. Form.reset. And this is going to clear form after submission. Okay. Else here form response dot text content is equal to please provide more feedback. Okay, so you want them to actually submit something with a decent amount of information. And I forgot to put in here, we need to deal with this form response. Okay, we didn't have the form response that we created up here. Okay, so let's go in and put it in here. And let's say that somewhere below the form, like right here, we'll put in a paragraph tag here, and we'll say ID is form response. Okay, so again, notice if I run this really quickly, notice we don't see that paragraph in here because it's empty. All right, so what we want to do now is if we cannot read properties of null reading. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we here. And so zoom out just a bit so we can see everything. We have our form. We have const form response. That's correct. Now here we are grabbing our form, submit on our event. We are preventing the default. Then we are grabbing feedback. And notice here, for some reason, instead of, we need value instead here. Probably one of you were screaming at me that it auto-completes. So if we refresh this, hit A, submit, Let's try this. All right, good. So cannot find, and it says this is at 9. All right, so 9, you're here. Okay, so here we want to, what is it saying here? Form.response, form response is form response. Oh, this is right here. Fonts. Okay. So there we go. Thank you for your feedback. But notice they can just type one letter in here. So if we refresh and they don't submit anything, please provide more feedback. Let's say that you want them to at least write like a proper sentence. So at least 10 characters long. Okay, so you can go in here and you can change this setting to 10, and then here you can refresh it so that they at least write something proper. So thank you for your amazing product. Okay, and notice then thank you for your feedback. But if they just sent something like thanks, please provide more feedback. Okay, you want something a little bit more descriptive. Now, I think we have time for probably maybe one or two more examples, but I think maybe we'll just do one more example here to do an inventory management system. So I'm going to go on and delete these responses here. And let's go on. So what is the scenario? You want to display your current inventory count of a product and disable the cart, add to cart button if the product is out of stock. So again, we're going to create up basic HTML here, and we'll say inventory management here, and the product here is going to be a smartwatch. Paragraph here will be in stock 5. Okay, and then we'll do ID is equal inventory dash count. And then we'll do button and ID is equal to add to cart. And here we're going to put in disabled. Okay. And we'll put the text to cart. And let's do script src is just script.js. So here's the deal. This initial disabled means that people aren't going to be able to click on this. So if we right click on, notice here it is grayed out. Okay, if we got rid of this disabled, okay, and I refresh, notice you're able to click on it, but we're going to start out with it disabled. Now the script here, all right, we are, well, and it also here is the other thing, is that we're also displaying the count here. So this is something that we're going to want to change. So let's go on and do that. So let stock equal 5. You guys are only carrying 5 of an item. Const inventory count is equal to document.get element by ID inventory count const add to cart button and is equal to document.get element by ID add to cart. And then let's create up a function here. Declare a function here. Update inventory. It's not going to take any parameters here. And we're going to have an if else here. And it's if the stock is greater than 0, we're going to add to cart button dot disable equal to false. Okay, so we will turn off that disable. Then we can do inventory count dot text content is equal to our in stock of whatever our stock is. Else add to cart button dot disable is equal to true. And then we want to inventory count dot text content equal to out of stock. Okay, and then we need to actually create up and add to cart button our event listener. So add to cart button dot add event listener. Click. And here we want to do stock minus because again, after it clicks, we want it to subtract out from our stock that's up at the top. And then we want to update our inventory, which is this update inventory here. We're calling a function inside of our function. And then eventually, to initialize the page for the first time, we need to update inventory. Okay, so this is handling our real-time inventory updates, and it's going to disable the cart button when the stock reaches 0. So if we restart this, let's go back and look here. All right, let's just double check here. Add cart dot disable is equal to false. All right. So I was being silly. This is, remember here, if we went here, notice this is a disabled, and here should be disabled, bold. Now it should work. There we go. So notice we have our stock of 5. We add to cart, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now notice out of stock and it is disabled. So what have we kind of learned today? Well, our basic things here are that we've dealt with event handling. Okay, so in order to respond to user interaction, such as clicks, form submissions, or drop-down selections, and we have a separation of concerns. So keep your HTML and JavaScript in separate files in order to improve code readability and maintainability. And finally, the DOM manipulation. So you can modify your content, structure, and style of a web page utilizing JavaScript and make up some pretty cool applications very quickly. If you guys like this and you want more of this content, please comment, subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.